we are live. Hi, everyone.
Hey, welcome to Tabletop Battle and a new battle report. No, it's not a new battle.
No. I am here with Martin and with Svein, and we are going to talk Norwegian nationals, which is like in a minute. It's really soon.
And we are here with Bo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you guys are hosting the Norwegian nationals at your shop, right?
Yes, sir. We have 200 square meters in the second floor, lots of gaming space, lots of terrain, tables, mats, everything. So we do whatever we can for the customer to feel appreciated and have lots of free things to use in our shop.
Yes, sir. And we have managed to gather almost 20 players this time. So it's going to be good.
And is this like the first time that you actually have a nationals tournament? Because I know you've hosted tournaments before, but a Norwegian nationals, is this the first one that really is happening?
Yeah, we never sort of officially called it that.
No,
because we never asked Warlord about it.
Yeah.
But we had this yearly or annual May tournament, which was very successful. We had players coming over from England and all those things. Germany, a lot of our patrons joined up. And at that time when we did this, 2017, 18, 19, we also did the tournaments over in the UK. And a fun story is that what today is the Warlord Games Day was by us in 2017. We did the tournament over at Warlord Games, and that became the beginning of that Games Day.
Yep.
Brilliant.
Yes, sir. So yeah, we this time I asked our account manager, is it okay if you call it the Norwegian Nationals? And he said, sure, if you guys are the ones that are doing things. And as far as I know, we are the guys that are doing things.
Yeah.
And because Norway is a lot bigger than at least Denmark in terms of geography, do you have people coming down from most of Norway, or are you very local in your player group?
We have mostly local players coming.
Yeah. And some from Oslo. So like in the nearby area, like 40, 50 minutes drive.
Yeah.
But that's about it. It's like you say, we have a very, very long country, and it's, for people to come down for one day for games, might not be worth it.
It's tough. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a start. We have been, after Corona hit, we didn't really do anything. So this is our way of getting into it again. And getting back.
Yeah,
the relaunch. Call it a relaunch, getting back on track with the annual tournaments. And so we're going to have that every year in May. We're going to have the nationals, but we're also going to increase and do monthly play days. We're going to have 4 big tournaments each quarter during the year. So things are picking up very much.
Yep.
Sounds brilliant. I have to take the ferry to Oslo at some point and go and fight in the Norwegian nationals. I can hear that. Brilliant. As per usual on my channel, at least, I have done a PowerPoint for you guys because Martin and Svein sent me the list, and I have done my usual analysis stuff of it. So I'm going to do predictions. Which I'm often wrong about, and I'm going to talk about how it all panned out. And before we turned on recording here, we were just talking about how really good it is to see that the lists that are coming are very, very different. Martin, you said something about like that it wasn't just circus lists, but there was a lot of mixed bagging. Try and explain to people what you mean by that.
Well, there's a lot of armor, of course. You're going to see this, but there's a really good mix of veterans, inexperienced, a lot of inexperienced, and there's no one-trick pony. There are 2 one-trick pony lists, but the majority of them are not one-trick pony lists. They are flexible lists that can do a lot of different stuff.
So a mixed bag can do a lot of stuff.
Mixed bag. Exactly. That is what a mixed bag is. Oh, wait, come on. Let's go. Why is
Yes,
it
sir.
not? I'm
I don't
trying
know.
to make my PowerPoint go here. There we go. And these
Yes.
are not it at all. So there we go. The meta
This
of
guy.
the Norwegian
I sent
nationals.
I sent
Um,
this. I sent a picture of this to the guy who painted those models. He was
Yes.
so happy.
I browsed around in the Norwegian Facebook group, just picking out pictures, and I hope nobody minds, but
No.
there was a lot of really cool models to pick out. So in advance, sorry, and thanks to everyone who contributed art for this project here.
He was super happy.
Yeah. So Sven, could you talk us through the event itself? You have an escalation pack, sort of. Is that right?
Yes, it is, and it was something Martin had seen somewhere, and we talked about it. And let's do something around those things, but not
Yeah.
copycat. Let's do something, and then put our own TTB spin on it. I especially like the 600-point game where you have to kill one order die more than the enemy.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna be brutal.
It is.
So it's we've never done that. We've never done this kind of thing. So it's fun. Hopefully we will see. You want to add anything to that?
No, you did very
I
well.
did very well.
In the first mission, it's going to be kill points. In the second mission, it's going to be sticky objectives. So you need a 600-point list that is both brutal and flexible.
And has enough to take the objectives.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Which is going to be difficult having all those bits when you only have 600 points, right?
Indeed. And then in the 1200-point games, we have one with key positions.
5 of them.
Which also is a fog of war. And we're combining a demolition with a seek and destroy mission for the finale. Where you get a set amount of victory points for taking the objective or demolishing the objective. But you also get kill points.
So you can still manage to score points if you are unlucky with the objective.
And you can't be really lucky with some infiltrators and win in round 2.
You can. And I think that's a really clever idea. I noticed that you guys did that because normally I would say that demolition isn't really well suited for tournament play. But when you do it like that, you give 5 points for the demolition objective and then 1 per kill point, then it starts making sense. It really does. So I really like that. You have 17, which has turned, is that right? It has turned into 20 players or something like that?
No, we were aiming for 20, but we are down to 17.
Again, back to that being one day, and also we want to point out this was short notice because we really waited until we get back from the England tournament.
The WTC,
before we actually made any promotions and stuff about this and the player pack and all that. So, next time it will be much better because we will have much better time and people will have more time to play. And then of course it remains to see if everybody shows up. A lot of people say they're coming and we don't do prepayment. It's not, you don't have to pay in advance. You pay when you come and then.
And if we know our players right, a couple of players will show up on the game day not having submitted their lists and going, I'm here to play. Isn't it? It's
the tournament today.
So that is complete chaos.
Complete chaos, but we aim to have the best of the best playing.
Brilliant. Are you guys going to TO the event, or are some of you going to play as well?
We are going to be playing and organizing at the same time.
Nice.
Last year we won. We played while one was TOing, the other one played, and we swapped. It turned out really good.
So if we end up with the 17 players that we get odd numbers, we will share a list and then we will play each other every other game. And the other guy will do the TOing and of course work in our advantage.
I did the same at my last tournament, Zealand Open, and it works just fine. I think that's a really good idea when you have a judge, but you also want to play because it's your friends that are coming over, basically, right?
Exactly, and that's very important what you say there, because we have always, tabletop battle has always been about the gentlemanly warfare.
Yeah.
We are always striving to have nice games, and I don't know if you saw it in England, but or you heard it.
I think yes, I heard it quite clearly.
People loved playing against us because we are very, very nice players, and this is what we want to bring to the table. And the players that come to us, they will have a good time because this is what we strive to do. There are some new players that we haven't seen. Third edition has brought in some new players, which is very fun to see. And actually, one of the lists that you have on the top of the possible winning.
Yeah.
He's a new player for us. We never played him before, so that will be very, very interesting.
That is going to be really...
Yeah, if it turns out that he's, the kind of power gamer, win at all costs and all that stuff, he will not be invited back.
Brilliant. Oh, most of the power players learn their lesson in time and become nice people.
Hopefully they do.
So... The spread of nations is also kind of interesting because, as you said, Martin, there's a huge spread, there's a huge variety of different people, different nations. Like we have one each of the partisans: France, Japan, Poland. Yeah. So there's like a huge spread, and then there's not like one nation. You might think that Germany or the US, because they have the army books, were really dominant, but no, they're like everyone's just bringing. And I think this is part of what you just said, that it's a group of friends. Everyone is bringing what they like because they know that it will be okay to play it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no, like, you don't have to come in here and have to prove something, or oh my God, I have to build the most meta list ever because I need to do good. This is you come in, we play friendly games. Yes, there will be a Norwegian champion crowned.
We are playing for prizes.
We are playing for prizes and all that, but it's all in a friendly setting, and we give prizes to everybody.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
That's a big thing as well.
Warlord games have been really generous with shipping over some small prizes for everyone. So, yeah.
And that's also a way to like give a prize to the people who had a really crappy day, lost all their games, and are like, well, but at least I got some minis. I can go and build myself a new army.
We actually have a wooden spoon as it's everything we do here in our shop. Every tournament, there's always the wooden spoon, and they don't get the crappy shit.
No,
they get good stuff.
Nice.
Because if you let everybody else win, you should be rewarded.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. So if we're looking at how much people actually brought for your 600 points, most people are bringing 7 order dice, but it's between 5 and 10. So for me, that is, imagine that guy with a 5-unit list going up against the guy with a 10-unit list. One of them is going to be completely overpowered, and I'm not sure which one, because the 5-unit list has some very hard units, whereas the other dude, he has a lot of units, but they're very soft.
Yes, sir.
So
the 5-point list is that the body armor list?
It's an American list that in the 600 points has, I think it's Pershing or something, a very heavy tank. Armor. Very heavy armor and 5 order dice. That's very, very low, but potentially it could really work. I mean, he just needs to get up there.
You only need to kill one more than your enemy, and you only need to survive on the objective.
Exactly. So it might be really clever. And the average is 6.7 order dice. It is lower than what we're seeing in Denmark, at least. The order dice range here. If I remember correctly, then for Zealand Open, we had 400 points in some of our games, and the average order dice was 7 order dice. So we have a lot more order dice than you guys do in our lists. But I mean, I think it might be really clever if you have that kill points mission where you don't want to lose your units, then have stronger units.
And we are playing on half a table for the 600
You are playing
points.
on half a table as well, which also really matters. Yes. And then if I look down the lists, then what I'm noticing is there's a huge spread in what I would term the power of the lists. I have this idea that you can rate lists from 1 to 5 in how powerful they are.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing some lists that are 2, which I would term friendly lists or beginning lists. And then there's like one list that is possibly the best 600 points list I have ever seen. Is really high on power, and that is Eirik's German 8 order dice German list. Oh my God, that's an evil list.
That is the new guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
He has never played here before.
No, but we know him from some other game systems, and he's a really good player.
Yeah.
So,
We'll see how it
So we
fares.
shall see if he knows what he's doing. So as I said, the order dice is a little lower than I had expected, but it seems to be a thing for you Norwegians that it is down there. So, and if everyone's doing that, that is the local Norwegian meta for me, at least. And I am seeing a lot of, as you said, mixed bag. I term it sometimes greatest hits, where you pick out like one unit of everything that's good with a little bit of indirect fire, a little bit of infantry, a little bit of armor. And I'm also seeing some people do flamethrowers.
yes.
Some
Love
people
it.
do cavalry. A lot of people
Indeed.
do Death Stars, even in 600 points. A lot of mechanized, which I think is, since the missions you're running is where you have to go up and take objectives, I think mechanized is a good idea, right? Have your guys in a Hanomag or something move up and grab an objective. Some people are trying to do the opposite and trying to make units that are really survivable, that are like big, chunky infantry units, hordes, or like spamming out as many veterans as they can possibly buy because veterans survive more. Some people are even doing tank riders, where you have your tanks so you can drive up to the objectives and then unload your veterans. And I think it will be absolute chaos in 600 points. What are you guys seeing?
Well, we are seeing very few multiple rocket launchers.
Yes.
And on half a table, I was expecting everyone to bring at least one.
But no one is.
No one is.
No, yeah, that is also very, very peculiar. I don't know if it's the recent FAQs that has done away with the multiple launches, but we're not seeing them in Norway. Nope.
I think people want to have fun also for the opponent.
Yeah.
Again, back to that community that we have built through the years, how we conduct ourselves, how we play, and nobody wants to be that guy, except Martin. So yeah, I think it's a combination of people don't want to have a unit sitting at the end of the table and just aiming for sixes. And also the missions as we set them up. It's sort of you need to have mobility. You need to have
and especially with the fog of war in 1200 points, because you need to bring the exact units from the 600 into the 100. You can't modify the units. So you don't want a weak backline unit that can be just decimated or melted by machine guns.
Because it's in Fog of War, it's really, we saw that at the WTC, but all of us saw that at the WTC. As soon as you have a Fog of War mission, everything, your back lines are just completely open and every unit is vulnerable. And especially like a multi-rocket launcher is extremely vulnerable to something just driving up behind it and killing it.
And then it comes down to who gets the last order die.
Yes.
First one.
Yeah, exactly. And then after 2 games, we move into the The
Well,
1200 points.
yeah.
Again, there's a huge dice spread from 10 order dice to 17 order dice.
Yeah.
And there's like clumps of people bringing order dice at 13, at 15, and at 17. There are 4 people at each of these. But there are no 14s and there are no 16s, which I was like, how, what is happening here? It's really weird that there are these clumps of order dice ranges, and then another clump at 10 actually, where 3 people are bringing 10 order dice.
Yeah.
13.9 on average for 1200 points. Again, is low for me, but again fits perfectly with the number of heavy tanks that we're seeing.
Yep.
So, do people in Norway just enjoy their heavy tanks, or what is happening?
Well, I think a lot of them are going to try the old and tested tank assault trick.
Nice.
And also they want to have veteran tanks to avoid getting pins. So
yes,
people know that pinning tanks with a light autocannon or something, that has been a thing, and it's still a thing. And they're trying to circumvent that. But I definitely think that having these veteran tanks and good tanks that can do assaults on infantry, I think that is definitely something we're going to see a lot of. We actually did a play day the last weekend. Last weekend, we did a play day where people could come and test the list before they had to submit them. And I played against a guy with a 75 millimeter veteran Sherman, and of course he was HEing my Polish cavalry. He was HEing man squad, and he tried assaulting them, but it didn't work out then. But I was, oh wow. Yeah. That hasn't happened to me in a while.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think that's going to be a thing. Tank assault.
Yeah, I agree. Especially with those heavy tanks, and we're even seeing some people bring Panzerace, so heavier German tanks with the Panzerace upgrade, that is really nice.
There's even one player using the intelligence officer in one of these lists I saw.
And possibly in conjunction with a tank, I'm guessing, like, get the first order dice out and tank rush.
Yeah. So we're seeing stuff we've never seen before in the Norwegian meta, and it's so cool.
It is so cool. Yeah, it is definitely cool. For 1200, I'm seeing a lot more people doing mechanized or motorized, like people bringing trucks or Hanomags or whatever, half tracks. A lot of heavier tanks, as we talked about, a lot of 9+ tanks, but also heavier than that, and a lot of very, very survivable infantry units. So large, chunky units of regulars or inexperienced, or veteran units of 7 or more guys. That is definitely where people are heading towards for the 1200 meta. Martin, what did you notice when you were reading the 1200 lists?
Well, I was looking for the multiple small unit lists, the MSU lists, but there are none.
Not a one.
The thing I was most shocked about was the amount of infantry squads, the number of rifle platoons and the number of infantry squads in them. I think everyone's bringing some armor, but some of the guys are bringing an insane horde of both inexperienced and regular infantry.
I think they have read the mission pack.
They have read the mission.
They're going to play the mission, and that's good.
Yeah.
That's a very good sign. Yes, that is. So, as always, once we get to this point, I am making predictions, and just for the guys in Norway, sorry if I didn't rank your list, but I'm doing the list ranking 1 to 5, and then adding up the 600 points and the 1200 points lists, and from this I get a ranking that sort of says to me that I think potentially one of these 5 guys could win the Norwegian Nationals. So for me, it's Eirik. So the new guy that you talked about, he has 8 order dice in his 600 points, 15 in his 1200 points, and he has German's greatest hits, like he has the 250/4 prototype transport. He has a heavy tank with Panzer Ace in his large list. And so I think he could do well with the lists. Yeah. Then Thomas, do you know Thomas?
Oh yeah, he was part of the World Team Championship team.
Yes, sir.
Yep. So he is bringing 8 order dice, 15 order dice German mechanized, which I think is straight up his gameplay and style. I think he could do well with that as well, and especially coming out as he did just from the WTC. He's tournament ready, trained and stuff.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And then we have Philip. I don't know who Philip is. Do you know Philip?
He works here.
He's one of our guys.
Yeah.
Nice. So a local lad,
Yes, sir.
9 order dice and 17 order dice, so fairly high. And then Greek, and that was what immediately had me cracking up. He's bringing Greeks. I mean, and a lot of cavalry, big cavalry units, and then a lot of armor.
Yeah, he didn't want to play anything that everybody else plays.
Oh, Svein, then that it chopped up in my end here. I'm not sure.
Are we frozen?
We are back.
Yeah, you were frozen for a second in my end. Just Svein, could you go again? I don't know.
Now we're back.
Oh,
Now we're back.
Okay.
do it again quickly.
So he didn't want to play anything that everybody else plays. We're frozen.
Nope, you're good.
I'm good. Okay. So he didn't want to play anything that everybody else plays. Looked at the national specific rules for the nation and found that ambush would be a cool thing to have.
Yeah.
So that's the gist of it.
Yeah. And I think he can actually do well because he has a lot of units that can go on ambush, and then he has the cavalry that can go up into the midfield and grab objectives, and
Yes.
So it really could be played, that list, to a good effect, I think. And it has a fairly high order dice count for what he's going to face, which also means that his stuff is light and dies easily, but he's going to have to try and keep it alive then.
Yep.
And then we have Jorn, who is bringing 7 and 13 order dice Brits. Do you know Jorn?
It's me.
It's Jon Martin.
Yep. Since we have
That's why. Okay.
yeah,
I was confused because it didn't say Martin, and I only know you as Martin.
we have another Martin playing in the tournament, so I'm using my first name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So the artillery observers are just very, very good, aren't they? And you have a lot of what I would term push units. So there's Gurkhas and there's special forces that can go up and clear objective and have tough fighter or SMGs and can just really push. What were your thoughts about this list, Martin?
Well, I played a similar list in the last years, what we called the Nationals, and it did really well. I love those Crusader tanks, and I think it's going to be a fun list to play. It's going to be a really aggressive list.
Yes.
And yeah, I think it could either do really well or really, really bad.
Depending on whether or not your infantry gets to where it needs to go and whether or not your Crusader starts killing stuff. Yep. And then we have Simon, who is bringing Simon, and I'm guessing that is the UK Simon Brecken, who I know is coming to the Norwegian Nationals. He has 7 order dice, 17 in his 1200 list. He is bringing Americans and a Death Star with an air observer, which I actually think is a clever idea because not a lot of people are bringing that much flak. You are, of course, Martin, but but the rest of them, there's not much flak here. So the air observer might actually be useful.
Yep.
Yep.
I think the amount of 251/4 that we are seeing will cause problems for the air observer, but maybe not. Maybe not.
maybe, but it really depends on whether or not he ends up against Germans or not, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So for me, the main takeaways is that you guys have a meta that is just so open, can go everywhere. And sorry? We have something
Maybe it's
going
good
on.
on his side.
It's on my side. Someone is calling me. I don't know why.
Are we back?
Yeah, we are back. There is a
they
little
want to
bit of a
interrupt the
disturbance because
transmission.
my computer is plinging away. Someone is trying to get to me via the computer.
Stop them. Stop them.
I'm sorry. I can't. Let's see if I can. No.
Oh, you got so much stuff on your computer.
Too much stuff. I live and work on this computer. Anyways, I'm going to try and
takeaways.
Main takeaways. Is that the Norwegian meta for me is just way open. It could go every bloody where, and isn't that just what we all want? I mean, it's just so good to have V3 here, and everything is just new and exciting. I mean, it's great. Have you seen this since the start of V3 that people were bringing like totally different stuff?
Yeah.
It's the Norwegian meta. It's chaos.
It's chaos. We also see this in what people are buying from our stock.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it was lots of HMGs, but now it's like very different everything.
Yeah. And that means that you guys are actually quite tapped into where people are going, and if you can actually see on your sales that people are going every bloody where, then yeah, and we're also seeing that in the tournaments. Brilliant. I also think that a lot of people in Norway think that there is strength in numbers, so the units are quite big, the unit sizes are quite big, and that there is strength in mechanized infantry, so that you need some armor. If you don't have a large unit size, then at least you need to sit in an armored vehicle of some sort, right? I'm not seeing a lot of what I would term camping, which is small infantry units with LMGs sitting in the back line and just sitting there on ambush and shooting everything. And I think that could be down to how you guys build tables. At least that's what I feel like in Denmark is if we have quite cluttered tables, then the backline holders, the camping units, they sort of disappear because they're not much worth if that happens. So I don't. Now you've gone to the WTC and seen how tables look in the UK. Do you feel like Norwegian tables have more terrain than that, or where do you think that your tables land?
Well, I think yes, we have more terrain than at the WTC, and we try to build our tables
like a store.
And it cut out again. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Like a story, I think Svein was saying here. Anywho, while it just returns, we hope. The final thing that I'm seeing is that Death Stars are still trying to do well, especially here in the Norwegian meta. As Martin said, we have like almost half. You're back, yeah. It continually cuts out. I'm not sure why. But we're also seeing Death Stars trying. So sorry, Svein, you got interrupted. What were you trying to say? And it cuts out again. Oh no. Worst possible moment. I am not sure what to do here. Let's do this. See if that helps. No?
Okay, I think we're back. Yes, there are issues everywhere. I think we are maybe being, hijacked by some foreign entities. What I was trying to say is that we build our tables like a story, like it's very realistic. So
Yeah. Yeah.
We will things that are realistic and that you would find on a World War II battlefield. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is what you want. You
Cool.
want that immersion into the table, right? You want it to be something where you feel like you're actually on a battlefield. It's one of the things that a lot of new players in Bolt Action tell me, at least, that they were drawn to initially was the dice mechanic and the beautiful tables. So yeah, that's what we all love. Anywho, that I think was more or less it from me. I personally want to thank everyone in the Norwegian Facebook group who had posted quite a lovely selection of photos for me to pick up from, and I also want to thank Martin and Svein for coming on today. And oh my God, does it ever chop up? I'm sorry about this, but it's gotten frozen again. But thank you guys for turning up, and I really hope you have an enjoyable weekend. I am very much looking forward to going one of these years. I need to go and see the Norwegian nationals as well.
Yeah, we are moving. As it seems like it might be an issue on our end. We don't know. We have full signal strength, but it keeps, or sometimes it drops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so we tried moving it. I don't know if it helps.
Anyhow, just let's.
But yeah.
Let's do final comments then, and because we were at the end, more or less.
Yeah. I have a prediction for the winner. I saw one of the Russian lists with a lot of scouts. I think it's commanded by a guy called Odin.
Yep.
I think that list is going to do really well.
Okay.
What do you say? Who do you think is going to?
Poland.
Poland.
Well, like I said to you before we began this sequence, I haven't really looked at the list as much. So I have seen the nations, but I haven't looked at what I'm facing. I'm going into this like I am TTB. I'm gonna play for fun, and if people bring good enough lists, they are going to beat me because I don't have many tricks up my 1939 list. But that's
it. Anywho, that was it from us today, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it, and good luck to everyone going to Oslo this weekend. Cheers.